All right, so moving on in the workbook, you're going to find information about sacred places. Mount Shasta is mentioned in the textbook, as well as a great description of the Sundance. The Maasai are mentioned in the chapter on Africa, and as well, I have a link here to the Maasai Association. The role of art, music, dance, divination, and spirits. There's a little bit of information here. And again, in your textbook, you will find more. You will also find more information about Ifa divination. And here's a link on YouTube to a video that shows a little bit about it. In the Africa chapter, you'll also learn about the Bori and the Czar. Social feature, places of worship, and an option to add some little notes about what you've learned about where they worship in the community, and hierarchies. So here is a note area, and if you're watching this video, you're going to learn that if you can answer the second part here, you will get an extra point. I do that sometimes with just, a couple areas where if a student adds extra notes, I will give a few extra points. Don't worry about the spelling. If you do not know how to spell Bluey Ilkir, it is okay. Just do your best, and you'll have notes added there. All right, you will see that I am adding an optional audio version, me speaking it, of the Chief Seattle speech. If you notice in the discussions, the third discussion includes a question about this speech. Same question as you find right here. So if you're answering in your group, you might as well answer it here on your workbook. The question for the discussion is about either the Maji Maji Revolt or the Ghost Dance, and you can choose to write about them. You'll see the specific directions for the discussion. But again, this is that option where, something that's asked in a discussion is also showing up in the workbook. We have a timeline history here for you to learn a little bit more about the Gagaju. We have some of a tribal America and tribal Africa timeline. You'll also notice that in the textbook, there are timelines that are shared as well. So I'm mentioning these timelines specifically because task number 5, using the textbook, workbook, or online resources. I know that both with the textbook and here in the workbook, there's not a lot of detail on specific dates. So this is an option to show me that you know how to choose a URL that is academic or from the religion itself. All right, so it can be Native American or African. State why that date is significant and how it impacted beliefs, practices, or the historical cultural component of the tribe. Yes, you could go back and use the Ghost Dance. You can use American Indian Religious Freedom Act, the Independent Yoruba Christian Church. You can use 1905, Maji Maji Revolt. You could use the history of Australia. You could use the Pueblos of the American Southwest. You can use any date. Tribal Africa, Native America, Gagaju. Just remember, I want to know not just why the date's significant, but I want you to see if you can say how it might have impacted the beliefs, the practices, the cultural component of the tribe. All right, so one final thing that shows up in your workbook, share what you most enjoyed learning about from this section. It can be anything of tribal religions. And I also want you to tell me why you believe, so this should be an I statement, why you believe learning about indigenous and tribal traditions is important. All right,